All right, so you know how some updates feel kind of empty? They promise all this new stuff, but not much really changes. Well, Apple's latest iPadOS beta, it's the exact opposite. We're not talking about a ton of flashy brand new features today. Instead, we're diving into iPadOS 26.2, and this one is all about taking what's already there and making it, well, just better.
And get this, the timing here is pretty wild. This developer beta dropped less than a day, like 24 hours after 26.1 went public. That's fast. And it tells you something, right? It's not just about pushing out updates quickly. It feels like Apple is really listening and tweaking things almost in real time. So you might be asking, if there's no huge redesign, what's the big deal? Well, the story here is really in the little things. Those small, smart changes that just make your iPad feel more intuitive. Let's kick things off with a feature that's all about health and wellness. Okay, let's talk about sleep for a second. You know that sleep score you get in the Health app? Have you ever had one of those days where you wake up feeling like a zombie? You check your score and your iPad is like, hey, you got a 95. It just doesn't feel right. Well, it turns out you're not the only one who's noticed, and it looks like Apple is finally doing something about it. I mean, this quote from 9 to 5 Mac just nails it. A parent with a 6-week-old baby getting sleep scores in the high 80s or 90s, that's that's just not possible, right? It's the perfect example of how the old algorithm was just completely disconnected from reality. So yeah, Apple definitely heard everyone on this one. And with iPadOS 26.2, it seems like they're not just moving a few numbers around. They're actually retraining the whole algorithm. The goal? To give you a score that's way more honest and actually reflects how you slept. Just look at this table. The very high score used to be 90 to 100. Now, you've got to hit 96 to 100 to get that. That's a much higher bar. And you can see they've adjusted things all the way down. The whole point is super simple. The number you see in the morning should finally match how you actually feel. And here's another little detail that's actually pretty significant. They're changing the word excellent to very high. It might seem like who cares, but it's a bigger deal than you think. Excellent is kind of subjective, right? Very high is just data. It feels like Apple is moving away from being a cheerleader and more towards just giving you the straight facts.
All right, so that's a big change happening behind the scenes. Now let's talk about something you'll see right up front, your lock screen, because you're about to get a whole new level of control.
And the star of the show, for sure, is this new thing they're calling the liquid glass slider. It sounds fancy, but it's this really cool, simple tool that lets you get super specific about how your lock screen clock looks.
And it's so easy to use. You just press and hold your lock screen, hit Customize, top the clock, and boom, there's the new slider. You can drag it from this kind of soft, frosted look all the way to a super sharp, clear liquid glass style. It's one of those small things that makes a huge difference in making the iPad feel like it's really yours.
All right, so we've got health and personalization, but that's not all. iPadOS 26.2 is also packed with a bunch of really useful upgrades to the apps you're probably opening every single day. First up, for all you Apple News readers out there, you're going to like this. They've redesigned the layout, and it's all about making it way easier to find the stuff you actually want to read.
So now, right at the top, you've got these quick buttons for stuff like sports, politics, whatever you're into. They cleaned up the search, and this is a big one for me. The following tab is now its own thing, totally separate from search. Finally! It's so much easier to track your favorite sources now.
Okay, moving on to podcasts. The app is getting a feature that, honestly, YouTube has had forever, and it's an absolute game changer for listening to long episodes. I'm talking about automatically generated chapters. You can just look at the episode, see all the different sections, and jump right to the part you care about. No more endless scrubbing. Plus, if they mention another podcast or website, you can often find a link right there on the episode page. It makes finding new stuff so much better.
And now for reminders. This next one is seriously smart. It's a totally new kind of alert that perfectly fills that gap between a tiny notification you might miss and a blaring full-on alarm. When you create a reminder now, you'll see this new urgent switch. Turn that on, and instead of just a little buzz, you get a full screen alarm. Just like your morning alarm, it's got snooze and slide to stop. And if you hit snooze, you actually get a countdown timer right on your lock screen, which is awesome. Oh, and they're color-coded blue, so you'll always know it's a reminder and not your wake-up call.
So when you add it all up, smarter health tracking, more personalization, better core apps, it's a lot of great little improvements. But it kind of makes you step back and ask the bigger question, what does this say about where iPadOS is going?
Now, we have to remember this is literally the first developer beta. Things can and probably will change. We're still looking at maybe 6 to 8 weeks before this goes public. So everything we're seeing looks really promising, but we still need to see how it all shakes out with stuff like battery life. But even this early on, the theme of iPadOS 26.2 is crystal clear. This isn't about some massive, shocking new feature. It's all about refinement. It's about Apple taking the things we use every single day and just making them smarter, more personal, and honestly, more useful. And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. Think about that liquid glass slider again. Yeah, by itself, it's just a cool little visual tweak. But could it be a hint of something bigger? As Apple starts to give us more and more of these little sliders and controls, are we slowly moving toward a future where the iPad experience isn't just designed by Apple, but is actually truly customized by you? It's a pretty exciting thought.